Yeah,
So,
cool.
In this announcement, we heard about a new Yoshi game, a new Zelda game, 2 new Zelda games, kind of, a new Mario 3D game, so like a Galaxy type game for Wii U, and Smash Brothers was also announced to be at E3 along with a new Mario Kart.
Yeah, so I just skipped ahead in case you guys are like, what the hell just happened? I'm skipping ahead. We're just watching. They showed
no
off
footage of anything I just mentioned there, but there are some screenshots of the HD Wind Waker, and then there's footage of This is Wonderful 101, right?
Yeah, they showed 101. They did a quick making of video kind of thing for Bayonetta 2.
They showed the new Monolith RPG, which looks epic.
Yeah, and that's
we
another
did a
thing
rewind of that
and that's
today.
Probably called
Yesterday.
X, and then that's potentially a follow-up to Xenoblade. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, if
we
it's
broke
not,
that
I
down
will
in
be
a
shocked.
rewind. It's pretty clear. I mean, Shulk's basically in the trailer. So
I mean, this is the funny thing is like 20 minutes into this Nintendo Direct, they're still talking about Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta, and you're kind of just like, oh man.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
You know, they do I think need to work a little bit on their pacing.
Yeah. So
and
didn't have much...
Fire Emblem is also crossing Shin Megami, which is insanity. I can't wait to see how that.
So let's talk about that. I think that's one of the first things they talk about. That's a crossover game, kind of like Pokemon Conquest, which was a crossover of what is it? Romance?
Nobunaga's
Ambition and Pokemon. They're kind of extending this crossover idea with.
This is fascinating to me because I played both series. Obviously, I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan, and I don't see. This will be interesting to see how it works because Shin Megami is so based on like sort of the demons and the devils.
It's like
and
more like a
the mystical
first-person
type
kind of
thing.
spooky, creepy RPG.
Yeah, it's a different kind of RPG, but
Audrey, if they were able to pull
fusion.
off the Jetsons and the Flintstones meeting in a cartoon one day, then anything is possible.
So based
you
on
just blew
Conquest,
my mind.
they're probably going to take those characters and put them in a strategy game, right? That's probably what they're going to do.
I don't know. I mean,
they'll probably fuse it almost like they did with Pokemon, where if I had to guess, where it'd be sort of a strategy game, but then you go into a different kind of gameplay. A lot of like Project Cross Zone when you go into battles. If I had to guess.
Something interesting. I mean, just at least on this teaser, which might just be a teaser, but they're showing a bunch of characters from across the span
anyone who's
of
a Fire Emblem fan, like there's Ike, there's Marth from the original game, there's Prince of Frame,
Smash
Erica,
Brothers characters.
all kinds of characters.
Well,
yeah,
so,
otherwise known as Smash characters.
A few of the guys they showed right at the end there were Chrome and Marth from Awakening. So,
Yeah.
All right, so
here's the one thing I will say about this. I'm really excited that Nintendo's just doing these partnerships in general. I think it's really interesting.
yeah.
It results in crazy, quirky stuff like Shin Megami and Fire Emblem, but it also, who knows? I said this in a One-Up podcast, but maybe someday we'll get like Mega Man cross Metroid or something. Just
Or like a Ninja Gaiden Metroid.
Yeah. Just
well, we always said this sort of had to happen as they moved into the HD development cycle and development got bigger and bigger. They needed to bring in other talent, and this it looks like exactly what they're doing. They're bringing in Atlas,
this was also on our wish list,
Platinum
I think,
Games.
as we were
they
to
have
start talking about this stuff.
all these other third-party companies coming in, and it's resulting in some really cool things. It looks
from here he goes into announcing another new game, right?
Let's talk about Yoshi real quick. This is before Fire Emblem, but just real quick, it's apparently by Good Feel and the just general Kirby Epic Yarn guys. It's being watched over by here it says in text, but Tezuka, who made Yoshi's Story and Yoshi's Island, is involved supervising this. I think it looks gorgeous. I'm excited. I mean, Kirby's Epic Yarn was awesome looking. It just wasn't very hard.
It wasn't very challenging.
Yeah. So here's hoping. I mean, and Nintendo seems to be going that way. You look at challenge mode with Mario U. You look at the challenge packs for Mario 2, New Mario 2 on 3DS, and Tezuka was watching over those. So I think he really is starting to say, we need to make
it depends what direction they go with it, because sometimes some of the Yoshi games, like the one for DS, like there's just not much difficulty level. It's just more about collecting and enjoying the level. But we'll see.
I mean, even if it's exactly like Kirby's Epic Yarn, I think people were thrilled with that game. I know people that were just huge fans of it.
I loved that game. It was super easy, and so that was difficult for me to really get around. But at the same time, like it's just cool looking.
It's funny how like Yoshi's always been paired with a style like this. Like in Yoshi's Island, it's like the crayon style.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like this is something that I wouldn't have been able to predict. Using my amazing powers.
That was the funny thing is we heard
but it makes total sense.
We heard a rumor about this
That's right.
a month or two ago. But, and
we still don't know the name of it.
We don't know the name.
But here's the rumor. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's just we heard a title called I think it was Yoshi's Island, and
Yoshi's
so we were
Land.
like Yoshi's Land, was it?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And what it was at that point, it was like somebody had gotten to the developer menu of the Wii U console right when it came out and saw like a list, and it was like the Resident Evil.
Yeah, I think it was
like
a list of
Mario
hubs that were going to be
U,
Miiverse pages.
Yeah.
And one of them
Oh,
was
is that what
Yoshi.
it was?
One of them was Resident Evil. Yeah.
So those were announced, and Yoshi Land was one of them.
We'll talk real briefly about this. He brings up the idea of new titles from Nintendo. We're skipping around a lot right now. This is actually before Yoshi and Shin Megami. He basically just name drops. He goes. So I think first is EAD Tokyo is working on a new Mario 3D action game. Same guys that did Galaxy 1, 2, and 3D Land. I'm super excited for that.
Cool.
This is just like amazing pedigree from these guys. It will.
How will they step it up? I'm so curious.
Know.
Like I have a feeling they built the Wii U for this game, and I want to know what they do with it.
As much as I enjoyed Wii in general, Galaxy took such a great advantage of Wii, and it was like probably the first game where I'm like, that's why I have this. That's why this system really is cool. Sure. And it used the controller in a way that was sensible too.
And it's so pretty, and
it was a 2 in your face.
I just can't wait to see what this looks like. If you can have a Galaxy-like landscape that just goes as far as the eye can see.
Honestly, I'm just gonna say this right now because I saw some of this reaction on Twitter. Like the dismissal of a new EAD Tokyo Mario is stupid. Like the 3 games they showed on there were some of the best games every single year they came out. Arguably the best game in the years they came out.
Who the hell is dismissing that?
It didn't matter that it had Mario.
It's another Mario game. Yeah, fuck off.
I mean, yeah,
they're idiots.
Look what they made. 3D Land. That's still probably the best 3DS game. The best show of
those
3DS
those are 3
yet.
of the best Mario
the
games.
The game they made before
franchise.
that, Super Mario Galaxy 2, the highest rated game
of all
ever of all time. Look it up. You know.
And I didn't think Mario 3D Land was going to be amazing, and it was. I mean, it's just like you
could.
Yeah. Well, we weren't impressed when we first played it, but then when we actually saw the finished product,
and they want to challenge themselves to make like a new type of Mario game. That's what they think about all the time.
Yeah. And it's also like
I trust them.
It's so good because Galaxy 1 and 2, yes, those two are derivative of 2 is derivative of 1, obviously, but 3D Land is just a totally different type of experience and a phenomenal
There's never been a Mario game like that. It's one of my favorite.
And the jump
Mario
from Sunshine
ever.
to Galaxy, if we get anything resembling that jump, it's going to be mind-blowing.
I mean, 3D Mario games have been some of the most diverse, while still having 3D platforming in them. Such a diverse representation of that genre.
The only 3D platforming that's ever really been successful, I'd like to remind you. So it's like each time we get one, it's not like you can go out and be like, oh, I've played this on so many other consoles already. You've played a bunch of Mario games.
Mario as an entity
They're all great.
Is in a lot of places, but the experiences between the different types of Mario franchises are so radically different that it honestly like brings out this like inherent loathing in me when someone's like, oh, all Mario games are the same. It's like, you're an idiot. Real quick, Mario Kart. I think this franchise is a little more up and down, maybe that certainly than 3D Mario games.
I'm always excited right when they come out, but they never hold me like they used to. But maybe it's just maybe I'm just tired of this series.
It depends on the game. I think like 7 I thought was a really phenomenal effort.
7 was great.
Whereas Wii, I was sort of like, Double Dash.
Honestly, for me, I think for my lifestyle, a portable game like that works better just for me because I'm always on the go. When I'm at home playing a game, it's usually for work, so it's better to just pick up a quick online game and then be done with it.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do a crossover with 3DS?
I would love to see more 3DS Wii U interaction in a seamless way, like Monster Hunter's doing, where you just maybe download
Pac-Man
a quick application.
Versus you, Rich? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I want. Where are my link cables?
How about an Animal Crossing that speaks to both platforms?
Stuff like that, And
what if you could use the gamepad? One person could race using that, and one person could race using the big screen. So at least you both have a screen in your own house,
and we know
instead of split screen.
We also,
or 5 players, which is cool too.
This is, by the way, the worst use of the gamepad in video game history. This went on for like 3 minutes.
Altani, you mentioned Animal Crossing.
Brian's talking about the announcement of Wii Party.
Wii U Party. Yeah. I mean,
which shows people throwing dice by shaking.
You know what's funny is by the time they'd shown this, I was like, that's fine. You
guys
get your Wii U Party. That's fine.
Get your money, whatever you need.
You mentioned Animal Crossing. I mean, one thing to reiterate is that we know the 3DS can, conceivably link up with Wii U, directly as a controller. Like, what if you can play your Animal Crossing game, your 3DS game, on your TV using Wii U? Maybe, I don't know. There's lots of options.
And then fold it and go and take it on the train.
This thing's funny. They're doing like this twister thing, and all these idiots are like keeping their controllers in the same place, so it makes it hard. It's like, just move your controllers, guys.
Yeah.
This won't be as hard if you move your controllers.
So there's also Wii U Party. That's another game that was announced. We don't know much about it. It's a sequel to Wii Party.
Yeah,
it looks just like Mario Party.
We should bring up Smash Smash Brothers, a brief update just saying that they're going to debut its
screens.
He called them screens. I don't know if that means footage or just literally screenshots, but they'll be at E3. At E3. So Mario Kart, Mario, and Smash Brothers at E3 at the minimum.
That's
That's
great.
already.
That is good.
Not
And they
too
also
shabby.
said Mario, the new 3D Mario.
3D Mario
Okay.
and playable.
Fantastic.
Kart and Mario playable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
this is already the most exciting E3.
And you know what's
In a
funny
couple
is
years,
we critiqued Nintendo heavily for last year, saying Pikmin and Mario U or new Mario U would be at the show, and we were like, man, you revealed everything. That sucks. But I think there's a strong, vast difference between knowing a 2D Mario game is at E3 because I know exactly what that is, right? Whereas 3D Mario, what is that? I don't know.
There was another 2D Mario game coming out the same year,
Same thing
so
too,
the
yeah.
excitement for that was a weird situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I know
So-
exactly what a 2D
Yeah.
Mario is going to be. All
So
right.
what we have left is a couple of Zeldas.
Yeah.
And here's
Okay. I just want to point this out.
Zelda series producer AJ Anuma talking about.
Real quick, I know this is hilarious and stupid, but Onuma is wearing a very rare, very expensive Zelda shirt that is in Japan and costs a shit ton of money, and you cannot buy it anymore. It's this like Uber printing company. I tried to buy one. It's
Wow.
It's really expensive.
That's great.
I wonder
Showing
how he
off
got
is
one.
kinda bad.
You should have worked on the Zelda franchise for 25
Yeah.
years.
He looks like an 18-year-old with gray hair. It's
I know.
kind of amazing. He's
yeah,
permanently young.
He's like a cool dad.
Yeah.
It's
wish he
been
was my
only
dad.
1 year since the 25th anniversary of Zelda. That
Don't let
blows
your
my
dad
mind.
hear that.
So
Okay, so let me I guess recap what he's talking about because he does this they do this crazy dual texting. Basically, Onuma comes out and says, "We're still very early on a new Zelda game. We can't really show it to you." He does mention that they've been doing a lot of HD prototypes of different types of Zelda styles. They said that they basically have been going back, finding all the different Zelda art styles over the years and trying them in HD. And he basically says,
and we know that there's the concept trailer that we played at E3 that's not the new style.
Seemingly,
for
yeah.
sure.
It's been it's
That's what he
something
said.
else
Yeah.
now. It's something different. And he says,
But
eventually I'll show
that's
it
an
to you.
influence.
But
though.
during
that's what he's
their-
saying. And Wind Waker
basically-
is clearly an influence.
Basically,
as well.
during their experimentation with which Zelda style to bring into HD, they were playing with the Wind Waker, and they were like, "Well, heck, let's just release Wind Waker
Yeah.
HD
And it
while
sounds
people
like-
are waiting."
And I think
And they must have handed it off to another team because that game looks so different. The Wind Waker, it's
I would
completely
actually-
different shadows. It looks
also
a little
really
bit more
early, too.
very
3D.
different cell
stuff.
shaded. It
Yeah.
seems to be out. It's
And
more
it's
of like
out
a
this fall, correct?
this
So
fall for
it
Wind
looks
Waker.
like a lot of work went into it, and they said there will be other changes, which I'm really curious about.
Yeah,
Will it be a
here's-
Master Quest?
This looks like concept art to me, but that is a Wind Waker screenshot, and that is awesome. And I know a lot of people are sort of bemoaning the loss of the cell shaded look, which has aged incredibly well.
I think just the screenshots don't show off the cell shading enough, but
Sure.
they're trying to show off lighting. I mean, you can see the shadow and
Yeah.
the bloom. When we get to see this game, I bet it'll look a lot more cartoony than you think it's going to look.
I
just
think
based
so.
Well, and
on-
we still haven't seen it in motion.
five, yeah, we've
honestly,
seen 5
so
screenshots.
that'll make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like it could look like a freaking Miyazaki film. You're seeing backgrounds. You're
Honestly,
not seeing foregrounds. You know?
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
That looks like a
Yeah.
painting. That is
So cool.
I emailed Nintendo later and I was like, that's art, right? And they're like, no, that's a screenshot. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And honestly, you can still go
at
play
that.
your old GameCube Wind Waker
looks like
if you
Myst.
want it. So I think that looks awesome.
Yeah, it's
I'm
really
excited. So yeah, I mean, people are sort of saying that doesn't look
Pause it.
as cell shaded as it should
Go
be.
back to that.
It's
So-
fine. Relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Call
Well,
your mother.
that's
Tell her
like-
you love her.
And I just want to. That's like the
There we go.
dream of animators is to come up with a style that looks like that, awesomely
Seriously.
shaded with 2D, kind
And I
of
wouldn't be
drawing.
surprised to see it subtly evolve from there
just looks
anyway.
fantastic.
I think it looks great. I just-
Look at the shadows. I mean, it's just so cool. There's a shot of Link and Tetra where it's like look at their little shadows are fully rendered there.
Yeah.
Like
Before
that
it
is
used
so
to be
cool.
little circles
with a day-night
on them.
cycle. That's
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
I'm excited. So I think the one thing, and I think Iwata lists it off here in a second, but they're not just redoing the visuals in HD and actually upgrading it. They're actually going to be fine-tuning the game experience, which I have a feeling might mean adjusting how you control sailing, maybe
Maybe
adjust.
quick travel bigger.
Yeah,
quicker or
quick
something.
travel or something. Maybe adjusting some of that to make the game a little more fluid because there were some complaints about Wind Waker back in the day. So now's their chance to kind of tinker with it if they want to. You can also play entirely on the gamepad, and there's I think Iwata says revisit here in a second. But and you can also get into Miiverse too, which was cool. That's awesome.
There's gonna be some amazing art in that page.
That is effort. That's what I like about that. They're not just be like, here's it, it's an HD. Give us $50. They're like, no, we're gonna.
And as we talked about last podcast, like this is the Zelda I want to play again, and I want to like right now, like this is the one I'm interested in like revisiting. But I can't do it on GameCube. I don't like playing it on GameCube.
Me neither. But they did talk about making some minor tweaks. So it'd be really cool if they did little things like maybe added more warp points all around the ocean. Make the Triforce collecting stuff easier. Just general map navigation.
You know what I want? So
mirror the whole world.
Back in the day, we found out that they cut 2 dungeons.
Yes.
Bring those dungeons back.
Yes, that would be
That's
awesome.
on my wish list, Nintendo. Do it.
That would be awesome.
You know what?
I didn't know that.
Add a
That's
second
cool.
difficulty level.
There's only 4 in the whole game too,
exactly.
so like why
Exactly.
bother?
They just cut them, and it's sad.
One of the coolest things in Wind Waker for people who haven't played it is I think when you beat the game, you get this, or you have this camera, and you can go back and replay it again.
You can also play as him in his pajamas. Right?
Yeah, and you can take pictures of every boss and enemy and character in the game, and they get transformed into figurines, and you have this like awesome toy gallery with has like hundreds of all the things you've taken pictures of. Some of them you can only get once because it like a boss changes for a second.
It's so hard to get them all.
So now if they have like the Wii U and you're using it as a camera, it could be pretty cool to do stuff like that. So
I haven't even thought about that.
Oh yeah, totally.
think about it.
Here's one other thing I would love. So they're talking about the new Zelda. It's going to take a while because they have to rethink the conventions of Zelda. Let's talk about that in a second. But I would love it if on the way to waiting for this new Zelda, they were able to revisit Twilight Princess and maybe even Skyward Sword and do this kind of treatment with them.
Absolutely.
Go farm it out to someone like Grezzo. I would gladly replay those games in HD.
Sure, I had a blast playing Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Well, I
And
mean, if you've
even
seen
that was
Twilight.
Oh, I love playing that on 3DS.
If you've seen Twilight or Skyward, play it on a Dolphin. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah, you see,
Gorgeous.
Twilight looks good too.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, like Skyward Sword is so new that maybe they don't adjust that. Maybe they just re-release it for like $20, $30 or something like that in HD. But I would love to see them revisit Twilight, fine-tune the opening a little bit, get that really short and concise, and let you get out into the world because that game is awesome once you
get out there.
Once you get past the first
I always tell people that once you get past the first 2.5 hours, it's one of the best Zelda games.
Yeah, it just has this really strange slow opening with stuff that really doesn't matter.
It's sad. A lot of people don't get past that opening. It's like, I swear, it's an amazing game.
And I don't like I don't like the alternate world in that game. It's like, I mean, I like the game a lot. I'm not saying I never liked that version of the alternate world. I like alternate world Zelda games, and it's the same thing for Metroid Prime 2 for me. Like, I always felt trapped in another one. I just wanted to get out of it. I don't want to be the dog.
World
I just want to like explore and do fun stuff, and it just takes a little long to get there. So that made me like angry every time I went.
It wasn't as seamless like as in A Link to the Past or something.
Yeah, like A Link to the Past is like amazing how it handles 2 worlds.
So before we get to X, let's talk about this because I think this is worth talking about at least for a second, which is Numa basically openly says that with Skyward Sword we were trying to do this. We didn't get as far as we wanted to. And he mentioned this to us in interviews too. And he's like, we're trying to redo what it means to be Zelda, and you can see it right there on the screen. But
and the things he mentioned,
the 2 examples he gives, right, are completing dungeons in the same order, like in a set order.
That second one scares me.
So you know what they're making?
Enuma, are you
World
listening?
Of Zelda craft.
I don't want co-op Zelda. Don't do it, buddy.
You don't want 4
Love
links?
Audrey.
What if you can play as Navi?
Well, here's
it was
the thing.
hard getting 3 people together.
Did anybody
for that,
ever play
Brian.
Wind Waker with a second player using a Game Boy Advance as Tingle?
Oh, the Tingle
Tingle Tutor?
Because it was
Tingle
awesome.
Tutor.
Yes, it was really fun.
No, I'm not saying that it couldn't be fun, but I don't want that to be the point. It's a single-player experience. You can have co-op elements or even multiplayer elements, whatever, but make the basic experience still single-player.
So play by yourself doesn't
franchise
necessarily mean it won't still be a major single-player experience, right? It can mean that
Just
somebody's
before
there
he
with a
gets
single.
too
I
far
want to
along
get to the end of
development,
this
I thought he
game, and
should
it's like
know.
Zelda's standing there, and there's like 18 links, and they're like,
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
we all
It
made
could
it
go
here.
that way.
Here's the thought. Like, what if, and he's indicated maybe they won't do this, but what if you play with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck Skyward Sword style, although he said they might go back to traditional controls, and then someone has the gamepad, and they're doing Tingle Tuner type stuff. Or
that would be fine.
You know?
I just don't want them to RE5 my favorite franchise.
No,
I don't think they
can't
will.
fathom
Like
that
with
happening.
Zelda being the co-op character.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
It would be kind of interesting if they really embraced the sort of like the legend aspect of Zelda, because we know now there are multiple links and all throughout the ages, and they could maybe implement that somehow in some sort of journey-esque style, so other people playing are like sort of
Zelda, like appear
alongside
you, like
within
hacking
your
away
world,
at stuff, ghostly
spirits or something like
That'd
that.
be really cool.
I think that could be interesting. So
I'm not totally against playing a Zelda game that has like a co-op or dungeon or something like that, where I'm playing with somebody, and as long as it's not like two links side by side. And I see what you're saying,
really
Rich, where there's like sort of like a generational
That's the Four Swords style. So like I don't want Four Swords in 3D for sure. Like that would be really depressing.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's an arcade game, it's like
a separate mode.
It's a bubblegum game.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be kind of cool. Or like, what if you go into a town as Link and you see a note left by an ancestor of yours, and it's the old Link or something like that. That could be kind of interesting,
No, I like that. The Dark Souls version of Zelda would be really cool. The Journey version of Zelda would be really cool.
Exactly. You could really embrace that because they never have before.
They actually, in Nintendo Land, in the Zelda minigame, they do that thing where you die and then you go up and you find the hearts left and the skeleton left by your old corpse.
That's like the zombie U influence.
Yeah, exactly, which is pretty cool.
Link bodies everywhere.
Yes.
Just piled up in corners.
All of Hyrule Field is full of corpses.
Wish list to Nintendo. We're making our new wish list.
No co-op and Link corpses.
So then let's get over to X, I think we've talked about everything. I mean, guys, don't forget Zelda's like years away, so we'll probably be talking about it again at some point.
Yeah.
Let me fast forward over to X here. So this is Monolith Soft and
and
Nintendo.
we're calling it X for lack of an
They kind of
official
show an
title.
X.
They won't even acknowledge that this is clearly a Xenoblade Chronicles
I don't think Brian or I played
sequel.
Xenoblade.
Yeah, again, Rich and I did a rewind theater. You can see on the site, but it's pretty much clearly a Xeno game. I mean, it has. If you can go to.
Is Xenoblade the first in that series?
Xenoblade Chronicles is the one that just came out on Wii.
Is that the first one in that series though? Has there been like an older Japanese series?
Well,
This is hard to explain.
It's hard to
Oh, really?
explain because it's sort of set in the same world as the Xenogears series, but they've never.
Xenogears. Okay.
Yeah, they've never found
Xenogears
a way
is square.
to. Yeah, exactly. So they haven't. They can't really officially connect
Without
them.
getting sued.
It's
It's
a
that
really
same
strange
kind of like
story.
tech and Monster Hunter. Like,
Exactly. Xenogears is basically the same
aesthetic.
thing, but with mechs,
Okay.
which is cool. But this has mechs, and if you see at the very end of the trailer, there's Spinret X.
The
I mean,
graphics
it's
look very Monster
Xeno,
Hunter to
but-
me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if
It
that's.
looks just like the one from the
that's
cover of
It looks a lot like Monster Hunter, but also honestly just Xenoblade.
Yeah.
So this is what Xenoblade looked like.
Yeah,
And
I
like we said, in just a second, you'll see a blonde guy who, if you put him next to a picture of Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles, he looks like a slightly older version of him. Same hair, same eyes, same brow,
same-
This is
everything.
cool.
Oh my God, mechs versus robots
Transforming
Right?
And dinosaurs. Mechs
and
versus
dinosaurs. I want this.
Yeah. I mean,
And speeder bikes and
and
okay, I'm in.
transforms them.
Yeah, sorry. I just turned
Peter
5
Wee,
for a
all
second.
things dinosaur on IGN.
So-
I
Yes.
told you.
the guy they just showed, that is almost certainly
For all
Shulk.
things dinosaur, keep it locked.
Right?
Executive director Takashi-san, that is the director of Xenoblade Chronicles. It keeps the same mech sort of fantasy sci-fi stuff that
Similar
Xenoblade does.
vistas,
Boom,
large,
there's the
diverse
X.
areas.
I mean, this is something related to
It's a
Xenoblade
Xeno
Chronicles.
game. They just haven't come out
And
with it yet.
anybody that played through Chronicles will tell you it's one of the best RPGs of the past generation.
Well, the exciting thing for me is that what
Won our Game of the Year
Xenoblade,
for Wii last year.
what Xenoblade Chronicles did on the Wii was so impressive in scope. Like it was almost straining
It was just
with
a
the
couple
hardware
years
at hand.
too later.
So to
too
see,
late, you know?
to see what they could do with an actual HD system, I can't even imagine the huge environments
And
and
that already looks
gorgeous
pretty.
So,
vistas they're going to
guys,
be.
I see Ron Gilbert outside waiting to come in and do another podcast.
Should let Ron in.
Podcast Beyond this week has Ron Gilbert on it, so they're
Go
just sitting
buy
out
his
in the
game, The
lobby.
Cave, on Wii U. It's really fun.
really good. It's on
It doesn't
Wii U.
feature off gamepads.
Please.
It doesn't, but just play
Makes
it
me
anyway.
sad.
Just shut up. And play
It's
it.
fun to
Co-op
play.
has
in
been
Wii U.
implemented better.
Brian and I are both playing it. It's great. Go get the cave.
Cool.
It's awesome.
All right.
That's
should
it.
go.
So here, that's the new games, and that's all the new
Nintendo
updates.
fans,
I don't know
you
what
have
else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have hope now.
Yeah.
It's been a fun week.
We'll talk more soon.
Maybe there'll be a 3DS one next week.
That'd be cool.
Fingers
He did
crossed.
hint at 3DS and third-party ones coming. All right, we'll see you guys
Bye,
later.
Googlings.
See ya.
Bye bye.